Breaking on 4 News Now at 6, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students now faces the death penalty. How the prosecutors justified their decision and why the defense wants to put the entire case on pause.
I'm tracking thunderstorms moving through the area this evening. I'll let you know where they are headed and when you can expect the return of 90-degree weather in your first alert forecast.
And a push to make being in Spokane parks after hours a misdemeanor. Why some say this move is too drastic. You're watching 4 News Now at 6.
Breaking news in the Moscow murder case. The state of Idaho will seek the death penalty for this man, Bryan Kohberger, who's accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students last fall. The state wants justice for these 4 students: Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. 4 young college students murdered last fall in an off-campus home. Thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron Luna.
And I'm Kirsten O'Connor. It doesn't happen often in Idaho, but we saw it coming. All the attorneys appointed in this case are qualified to handle a death penalty case. Today, Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson filed his notice of intent to seek the death penalty. He cites Idaho law that these murders were especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel and showed utter disregard for human life. Idaho has executed 29 people since 1864 and only 3 people since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976.
These are the 8 people currently on Idaho death row. 7 men housed at the Idaho Maximum Security Prison near Boise, and 1 woman who is at the Women's Correctional Center in Pocatello. Idaho last executed someone in 2012, and just this year reinstated the firing squad as an acceptable form of capital punishment. The most recent Idaho death penalty case happened in our area. In 2017, a judge sentenced Jonathan Renfro to death row. He killed Coeur d'Alene Police Sergeant Greg Moore. Notorious serial killer Joseph Duncan was also sentenced to death, but not in Kootenai County. A federal judge sentenced Duncan to death. He killed 4 members of a Coeur d'Alene family and kidnapped and tortured 2 young children there. He died of a brain tumor on federal death row in 2021.
The announcement today comes the day before a hearing that could put this entire case on pause. Tonight at 6, Jordan Smith explains why the defense says this case needs to be on hold.
Well, the defense and prosecution are clashing over what materials can be handed over from that grand jury indictment which indicted Kohberger on murder charges. Information that the defense argues is crucial to have in order to fight off these charges.
On Tuesday, the Latah County Courthouse will be home to multiple hearings. Kohberger's attorneys and the state fighting over the release of evidence and whether this case should be put on hold. The defense is pressing Judge John Judge to force the state to disclose more information on critical pieces of evidence that linked Kohberger to the crime. Kohberger's team is asking how investigators determined the white sedan outside the apartment to be a Hyundai Elantra, and how extensively lab analysts tested DNA that was found near the crime scene belonging to 2 unidentified males. Saying the defense is to guess whether the state focused its investigation on Mr. Kohberger via a bizarrely complex DNA tree experiment or through its faulty identification of the vehicle involved in this case. In a motion to compel discovery, Kohberger is asking for a list of items to be disclosed, including any communication between lab personnel and another party discussing DNA testing in this case, all reports generated by any lab that tested any samples in this case, and all documents that show the comparison of any DNA samples collected through the genealogy investigation. Prosecutors say much of what the defense is asking for either doesn't exist or isn't required of them to turn over.
And Kohberger's attorneys will also bring in 2 witnesses to poke holes in the accuracy of genealogy, which helped investigators find a link between the DNA left behind on a knife sheath and Kohberger. Those hearings are slated to begin at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a crew down there and keep you updated with the very latest developments from tomorrow's events. In studio, Jordan Smith, 4 News Now.
Jordan, thank you. Thunderstorms are popping up across the inland Northwest.
And this isn't the only time that we're going to see some storms this week. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker in the First Alert Weather Center. And Chris, you've been tracking these storms all day.
Yes, and they are tapering off rapidly. They're very short-lived storms, putting down a fair amount of precipitation, but they don't last for long. In fact, we did have a storm around the Cheney area that is completely dissipated. We have still a few lingering showers and isolated thunderstorms in the Columbia Basin and more rotating up through the southern panhandle right now. We'll zoom in around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene and see that things are completely dry other than a stray sprinkle over some of the mountain areas. As we move over to the Columbia Basin, the intensity of the storms has decreased significantly. Still seeing some pretty good rain around the Moses Lake area and heading up toward Chelan as well. Meanwhile, here's a look at our forecast radar. Starting off at the current time, things taper off almost completely as our sun sets, and then we start to see the redevelopment of some showers from Spokane south through the Idaho and Washington Palouse, and that will continue through tomorrow morning. Possibility of thunderstorms back in the forecast as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening. I'll tell you all about that and about the return to 90-degree weather coming up in your 7-day forecast. Kirsten?
Thank you, Chris. Spokane Parks Department wants to see less crime and vandalism at city parks and create a safer place for the public.
On tonight's City Council agenda, making it illegal for anyone to be in a city park after dark. Over the weekend, police say they responded to a group of people fighting in Spokane's Franklin Park and gunshots were fired. No one was injured. Police say a change in a law could prevent this type of incident. If City Council approves, violating park hours would become a misdemeanor. Peter Choi is live at Riverfront Park tonight and explains responses from the community and why Parks Department and police support this idea.
Yeah, guys, so if you're staying at Riverfront Park after 12 a.m., a new law would make people face misdemeanor. I spoke to some of the park users today, and they had mixed responses to this proposal. Some say this is much needed for the public safety, while others say this is too drastic.
One of the park users says he often comes to park with his children. Although safety is a top priority for his family, he said he doesn't agree with the proposal because it's a big change that could make people feel hesitant to use the neighborhood parks.
Made it a PTA-able offense, so where the parents could just release the kids if they got cited. But a misdemeanor, that's way too harsh.
Others at the park tell me this will help keep the public safe.
It's like a nice way to control what's going on within the park, because I think that these days, I mean, you're seeing all these people that are getting killed, and I don't know, everybody's just getting worried about what's going on just when it comes to the safety of just the public in general.
We have seen a huge increase in the number of incidents going on in our parks in the last couple of years.
Spokane police saying from the beginning of the 2021 through March 31st of 2023, nearly 700 incidents were reported in the city parks after hours. 79 of them involved violence such as assault, rape, stabbing, and shooting. The police want to fix this issue by bringing harsher enforcement back.
Gives officers the authority to go into the parks, to contact and detain people, and if necessary, arrest them. That's not the goal, to arrest a whole bunch of people. The goal is to provide a deterrence for the gathering of those large groups that have been creating problems. I mean, our history shows we had a tremendous amount of problems in the parks last year and shootings, and again this year.
Both Spokane Police and Parks Department say this change is not about stopping people from enjoying the park, but about making safer place for everyone.
You can't make a law for one person and not everybody else. So to have it be illegal for everybody is the way it will have to be. But that we're not going to be running after people that are, walking their dog half an hour before the time or whatever. But we will remind them, no, we really can't be here until, the parks are officially open.
And if passed, the Parks Director says the Parks Department and Spokane Police will notify the public about changes in the park hours within 30 days. Live in Spokane, Peter Choi, 4 News Now. Back to you guys.
Peter, thank you. A scary moment at Hoop Fest. A woman drove her car through closed streets and past several basketball courts. This happened on Spokane Falls Boulevard in Stevens. Derek Dice took this video and says police and Hoop Fest staff had to forcefully turn off her car. Spokane police tell us the woman was arrested for a DUI. Another Hoop Fest in the books and so many great memories made, but a lot of players will be carrying slightly more painful reminders of Hoop Fest weekend. Take a look at the injury board from MultiCare, the official medical care provider for Hoop Fest. It shows 1,185 people treated, almost 200 more than last year. Though the relatively mild weather meant heat-related injuries were down, there were still plenty of increases in foot and knee injuries, concussions, fractures, strains, and sprains. More than half of that total was preventative care. Affirmative action and federal student loan forgiveness, those are two of the 10 major cases the Supreme Court is set to release a ruling on in their final week.
These decisions can have massive impacts across the country. In terms of education, the affirmative action case will decide whether colleges and universities can continue to take race into consideration in the admission process, a program that some schools say has helped them achieve diversity on campus, while critics say it thwarts the goal of achieving a colorblind society.
We will also get a long-awaited decision on President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program. So far, more than 26 million people have applied, which forgives up to $20,000 for those making less than $125,000 a year. At the heart of the case is the Department of Education's authority to forgive the loans. Several of the conservative justices have said in recent years that agencies with no direct accountability to the public have become too powerful, upsetting the separation of powers.
New at 6 o'clock tonight, President Joe Biden announced a more than $40 million investment to make sure everyone in the country has access to high-speed internet by the end of the decade. Of that, more than $580,000 will be spent in Idaho and $1.2 million in Washington. The president saying the service needs to be affordable because he believes internet access is now a necessity. Still ahead, school is out, but that doesn't mean your friends can't get a free meal thanks to Spokane Public School.
Coming up, find out if your children qualify for free meals. Plus, the story behind this commotion at an Arkansas airport. That's coming up on 4 News Now at 6.
4 News Now on your time with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. 4 News Now. Expect more on air, online, and on the app.
On average, you can play longer on every dollar at Northern Quest, so chances are your dinner plans don't stand a chance. Luckily, you can make new ones right here at Maslow Steakhouse. Northern Quest, yes, the best.
Adventure, culture, and fine wine await you in the Lewis-Clark Valley, less than 2 hours south of Spokane. Tour some of the world's most spectacular wilderness, beauty, and wildlife in Hell's Canyon. Experience the region's rich and diverse culture and history. Savor award-winning Lewis-Clark Valley wines and delicious culinary creations from a variety of local wineries and fine dining establishments. Go to visitlewisclarkvalley.com and plan your destination getaway today.
People who come to the Inland Northwest rave about its beauty.
For those of us who live and work here, we couldn't agree more. From its iconic history
to a ton of new beginnings, we have farm-to-table roots and access to nature right at our back door.
And as a community member, BECU wants to honor those who work together to make life better for our region.
Join us for the premier food and drink celebration, Crave, at the Spokane Valley Center Place, July 13th through the 15th. Proudly sponsored by BECU.
My parents started their first dealership in Coeur d'Alene in 1983. They took pride in being locally owned and work hard to help this great community we call home.
Now, 3 generations later, we're still proud to be one of the last locally owned Subaru dealerships, and we're working harder than ever to give back to the community that has supported us all these years.
Because we're looking forward to being your local family Subaru dealer for generations to come.
What's in a name? A question that has never had more relevance. First American Title has been rebranded to Flying S Title and Escrow. Since 1905, we've been helping people protect their property rights. When the time comes to choose a title insurance and escrow company, the choice is clear: Flying S Title and Escrow. Idaho's longest operating, family-owned title and escrow company is now Flying S Title and Escrow. We're not new, but our name is.
If you have a fear of missing out, you might want to start earning with a free Camas Rewards card because, dude, Camas Rewards at Northern Quest for all the ways you play.
Meals on Wheels volunteers delivered more than just food to seniors early today. The organization kicked off its annual fan drive and is hoping to receive 600 fans this summer. The heat is really starting to pick up, and we're in for some even warmer days this week.
Not everyone in our community can crank up the air conditioning when it's hot, but there are resources available for people looking to escape the heat. Vanessa Perez is live now with how you can get some fans. Vanessa?
That's right. It's going to get hotter this week, and not everyone has access to air conditioning or something as simple as a fan. I spoke to SNAP and followed along with Meals on Wheels volunteers as they made deliveries extra special. Fans are being delivered as the heat is beaming. Todd Roush says this simple fan means much more to seniors on his route.
You know, the people I deliver to are basically, they're just poor. You know, it's pretty sad, actually, when you stop and think about that. That's what our elderly have been reduced to.
With the help of volunteers, relief is on the way.
Kind of a pain for me, but it makes them happy, so it's totally worth it.
Meals on Wheels says 250 of its seniors are in need of fans.
They're very appreciative, you know, for anything that they get for this fan drive.
It's still early in the season, but the organization has only been able to distribute to half of its clients.
It's not an AC by any means, but, you know, any movement of air is positive rather than sitting in a very stagnant, hot home.
SNAP also has a few programs geared to low-income families, one being free air conditioning units and fans. If you qualified for the heating grant in the winter, you can probably receive an AC at no cost.
When families can't stay cool, it exacerbates people's medical conditions. You know, emergency room visits go up. Children have a harder time, right? So we all do better when it's cooler.
Helping those most vulnerable beat the heat this summer. The Gonzaga Climate Center also partnered with SNAP to raise money for what's called a cooling fund. This will allow for more air conditioning units and fans to be put into low-income households. So far, they've raised $1,400. Live in Spokane, Vanessa Perez, 4 News Now.
Well, we are going to want to get those fans and AC units where they need to go soon. We have much warmer weather on the way, and tomorrow will be above average. We're heading up to a high of 83. 77 is our average high, a day very much like today with a mix of sun and clouds and the possibility of some isolated storms in the afternoon and evening. I'll be back to take you hour by hour through Tuesday and let you know how hot it's going to get in the 7-day outlook.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Adams Tractor.
Shelter. Out here, it's the most important thing. But the good thing is, my Ford F-150 provides enough power to keep working.
Get a great deal on an F-150, only at your local Ford dealer.
Don't let summer pass you by. Sale pricing is back at R&R RV. Yes, RVs are now priced below retail at R&R RV. Springdale, Cougar, Montana, Rockwood, and more. Don't wait weeks for other dealers. Every RV at R&R RV is prepped and ready for immediate delivery. Sale pricing is back at R&R RV. Shop now for the best selection and the lowest interest rates. R&R RV in Liberty Lake, North Spokane, and Lewiston, or online at rnrrv.com.
Wow, what a great vacation.
Yeah, no kidding. The new hotel, the casino, Maslow's Steakhouse.
Don't forget the triple head shower.
Trust me, I haven't. I feel a million miles away.
You're not.
I understand that.
I just ran home and fed the dog.
Don't ruin this for me.
The largest casino resort in the Pacific Northwest is right in your backyard thanks to our brand new River Tower Hotel in Northern Quest.
Alabama, Roll On North America Tour, presented by Kenworth. July 6th, Spokane Arena. With very special guest, the Marshall Tucker Band. Alabama, live. All your favorite songs from the greatest country band of all time. On sale now at ticketswest.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
It's not easy to bring up why we're here.
Ralph Yarl, the teen who was shot after mistakenly going to the wrong house to pick up his siblings, shares his story for the first time.
Were there any words that were exchanged before he shot you?
Tomorrow, only on GMA.
That sound. Wolves. Boy, they sound hungry.
Load up, wolves!
Good thing this Ford Explorer has Sync 3 technology. Keeps them entertained on the way to dinner.
Get a great deal on an Explorer, only at your local Ford dealer.
Yeah, I don't think it hit the plane. It still would have made an amazing video, though.
Well, that was a plane, as you saw, getting struck by lightning in Arkansas. The man who shot the video was disappointed at first because he missed capturing the first lightning strike that he saw that almost hit the plane. But then, as you saw, Mother Nature gave him a second chance. Woo, it's loud.
I was glad I was not in the plane.
I know. Well, there were people on the plane. No one was injured.
Did it continue to fly?
That I don't have the answer to. Our producer, Steven, will have to find out and answer that question.
Maybe he knows right now.
After the forecast.
Steven.
It does. Okay, he says the plane was not damaged as a result of the lightning strike. I assume that means he's telling us it continued on. That is a wild video.
It hit right on the top of the tail, huh?
Lightning does strike twice.
That's right.
Yes, you are one of the safer places if you are stuck out in a thunderstorm is in the car. That lightning will divert the charge away from you and down into the ground. Here's a look at live conditions right now in Coeur d'Alene. We've got some sunshine. It's 82 degrees, still a little bit dark and stormy looking in Spokane, 78, although the thunderstorm that was on the West Plains into the Cheney area is long since dissipated. 57 for an overnight low tonight. A slight chance of showers. Best chance will be south of the Spokane area. Your forecast for tomorrow, a high once again of 83 degrees with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Our high today was 83. In fact, tomorrow will look very much like what we have seen today on our satellite and radar. Thunderstorms rotating off to the southwest, and we are left with just a few sprinkles around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We will see more precipitation moving through later tonight, but should be very late and mainly south of the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area. Our forecast radar as we go through tomorrow morning. Here's 8 o'clock Tuesday with that rain from Lewiston up through Kellogg, moving once again counterclockwise around low pressure to our south. We will see these showers moving south and west through the area. Here's 6 o'clock tomorrow evening with another round of late day convection. Showers and thunderstorms possible around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, but will be very isolated if we see it. We see things quiet down again by Wednesday morning, but those showers and thunderstorms return in the heat of the day Wednesday afternoon before things quiet down more significantly for Thursday. High pressure building in and more stable air taking over, but it's also going to be warmer air. Here's a look at our temperature trend, up to 89 on Thursday, and then we're in the 90s through the rest of the 7-day forecast. This white line right here is our average high. By this time next week, our average high 79, so we will be well above average right on through the 7-day outlook. Overnight lows tonight, 50s and 60s around the region. Our high temperatures tomorrow will be in the 80s, few 70s on the map. The further south you go, the more we're going to hold on to the clouds and that chance of showers, and we'll see some cooler weather. Your planning forecast, 20% chance of showers, isolated thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we are dry through the rest of the 7-day forecast and warm 90s Friday through Monday. Overnight lows in the 50s and 60s. We'll be right back.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
There's something unusual about doing business with Idaho Central Credit Union. It's not something you can put your finger on. It's not something you can copy and mass produce. It's just the Idaho way. And that's the way we partner with your business. Welcome to Business Unusual. where how you do business is how we do business. Idaho Central Credit Union. Your business is our purpose.
Have you been looking for the perfect pre-owned vehicle and wondered, where have all the used cars gone?
At Coeur d'Alene Honda, we have the best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Whether you're looking for a Toyota, Subaru, Ford, or maybe that perfect Honda.
Every pre-owned vehicle is quality inspected and ready for you to take home today.
We work with local lenders to get you the rate you deserve.
Inventory changes daily, so come see us at Coeur d'Alene Honda or visit us on our website at cdahonda.com.
It's time. Time to let your soul breathe a little, to feel the sun on your face, and to feel alive again. It's time to dust off the clubs, to treat yourself, and test out your lungs. It's time to get away to the place that's not so far away. Lakeside Coeur d'Alene. Find countless ways to play and stay in CDA at visitcda.org.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a heat pump with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free heat pump from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
They were at home near Sandpoint when George's wife Sue found him unresponsive and started CPR. Within minutes, he was airlifted to Kootenai Health because George was having a STEMI, the most serious type of heart attack. Fortunately, Kootenai Health is a level 1 STEMI center with state-of-the-art cardiac care. So, just 90 minutes after his heart attack, George woke up with a healed heart and a very happy wife.
4 News Now is brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Denture Clinic.
Those 5 counts of murder in the first degree, how do you plead?
Guilty.
That was the Club Q shooter Anderson Lee Aldrich. He's been sentenced to 5 life sentences, one for each of the people he killed inside of an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado last year. The 23-year-old admitting to the shooting.
I intentionally and after deliberation caused the death of each victims listed in those counts.
Besides the life sentences, Aldrich also received 2,200 years in prison for the other 46 attempted murder charges. As the families of the 5 who were killed try to process their grief, many now questioning if this could have been prevented.
The Coast Guard launching an investigation looking into the cause of the submarine implosion from last week.
The sentence, "we lost comm," I think that would be a sentence I would never want to hear in my life again.
That was the wife and mother of Shahzada Dawood and 19-year-old Suleiman, who were killed on the submarine. Now the Coast Guard is convening a Marine Board of Investigation trying to determine exactly what went wrong.
I had very serious concerns. His entire system was not dialed in enough to the point where he should be offering trips to the public.
Stockton Rush was also on board the Titan when it imploded.
Around the world tonight, President Joe Biden says the U.S. and its NATO allies were not involved in armed rebellion in Russia, adding he has instructed his national security team to prepare for a range of scenarios. ABC's Em Nguyen has the latest on the aborted mutiny.
President Joe Biden making his first public remarks on the stunning revolt in Russia by Wagner mercenary boss Yevgeny Prigozhin, saying the U.S. and its NATO allies were not involved.
We had nothing to do with it. This was part of a struggle within the Russian system.
But the president reassuring Americans his administration is closely monitoring the situation.
But it's still too early to reach a definitive conclusion about where this is going. No matter what happened in Russia, we, the United States, will continue to support Ukraine's defense.
In an evening address, Russian President Vladimir Putin angry, accusing the organizers of the rebellion of betraying their country and the Russian people, saying the rebellion would have been suppressed anyway. He never mentioned Prigozhin by name. This as Prigozhin also breaks his silence, saying in an audio recording that his goal was not to overthrow Vladimir Putin's government and that his actions were in response to an alleged attack on his Wagner forces by Russia's military. Prigozhin adding that in order to avoid Russian bloodshed, he ended his so-called protest march, which started in southern Russia and was headed towards Moscow.
You have someone challenging Putin's leadership very publicly and very openly.
Sunday, the warlord apparently reached a deal with the Kremlin, brokered by President Lukashenko of Belarus, a close Putin ally, where Prigozhin would be exiled to Lukashenko's country and all criminal charges against him and his men would be dropped. But new reports say a criminal case against Prigozhin is still open. In his audio recording, Prigozhin says Russian leaders set a July 1st deadline for his Wagner group to disband and be absorbed into Russian armed forces. It's still not clear where Prigozhin is now. Emlyn, ABC News, Washington.
We have much more coming up tonight at 6:30.
Including why 4 astronauts have volunteered to live in this tiny pod for the next year. Plus, feeding kids in the summer is becoming more difficult. See what programs help kids help kids find food to eat in the summer.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
At BECU, our credit union members know that sometimes freedom is about the little things. Like free checking, free from monthly maintenance fees, and no minimum balance requirement. Or the freedom to access your money when you need it, where you need it, with over 30,000 surcharge-free co-op network ATMs nationwide. Or simply the freedom members feel, never worrying they'll be nickeled and dimed for their own money. So join BECU. All Washington residents are eligible. BECU, power in people.
Spokane and North Idaho's country leader. It goes like one margarita.
Bluebird in my heart.
Baby, you're playing hard to forget. The big 99.9 Coyote Country.
With savings this explosive, the 4th of July sale at Furniture Row is resulting in some very interesting reactions.
That's $300 off the dining set and 50% off the sofa.
Yes. With $600 off the bedroom and $300 off the mattress, you are saving $900 today.
Whoa.
Plus, save $100 on every $1,000 you spend, and 5 years, no interest. When you save this much, you'll be seeing fireworks too during the 4th of July sale on now at Furniture Row.
For this Georgia peach,
I'm a small town girl.
things are going south.
I'm not here for the foolishness. New roses on the chest, but who's to say I can't clip that off?
I mean, enough with the cold feet. It's time to move this along. Take the next step.
I hear you. You're tired of waiting.
Yes.
But at Eyeglass World, you don't have to wait. They're not like all those other guys. They make your glasses right there in their same-day lab.
No waiting?
Mm-mm.
Do you mind if I go?
You mind if I finish your cannoli?
It's all yours, bud.
Bye.
Get 2 pairs of glasses for $89 the same day at Eyeglass World, the world's best way to buy glasses.
The author of the book about grief, accused of killing her husband. Now she wants his money. Next, Inside Edition, she went on TV to talk about grief.
It completely took us all by shock.
Now she's behind bars, awaiting trial for murder. And she's seeking his fortune. Then, the runaway cart. Will they ever stop it?
I knew I would never catch it.
Next, Inside Edition.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Inside Edition at 7. Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now at 6:30.
Well, we've been watching some thunderstorms tonight popping up across the inland Northwest, and we have even more on the way.
Chris Crocker is in the First Alert Weather Center. And Chris, you've been tracking these storms. Where are they going?
Well, they are actually starting to sink off to the southwest, and we're going to get a break from the thunderstorm activity. Still a possibility of some isolated showers tonight, but these storms will return tomorrow afternoon and evening of day, very much like today. Right around the Spokane area, we did have a storm around the Cheney area that is tapered off and moved off to the south and east. Things are fairly quiet in Spokane and Kootenai counties right now. You may get a sprinkle or two. We also had some thunderstorms moving through the Columbia Basin. Those are beginning to taper off and move to the south and east. Still a little feisty just south of Chelan. Meanwhile, Here are 4 things to know about your weather. We do have a chance of thunderstorms again tomorrow, late afternoon and evening. It's going to be warm again tomorrow. We'll be in the mid-80s, but it's getting warmer. We are heading into the 90s by the weekend. It's also going to start drying out finally. We'll get a break from these afternoon showers and thunderstorms on Thursday through the weekend. Meanwhile, your forecast for tomorrow, a high of 83. 77 is our average high. Partly to mostly sunny skies, and then that isolated thunderstorm chance bumps up as we get into the late afternoon and evening. I'll be back with your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes, Aaron.
Thank you, Chris. With the rise in grocery prices, some parents are finding it more and more difficult to feed their children. Allison Martinez took a look at some local solutions.
School is officially out for summer, and for many, that means feeding your kids just got more complicated. I'm here at the Liberty Aquatic Center, which is one of many locations helping out by providing free meals for kids.
This summer, we're already seeing some increased numbers from last summer.
Long school breaks are the most challenging time for children to receive the nutrition they need. Luckily, there are options. Through a federally funded program, Spokane Public Schools offers free lunch and breakfast for all children 18 and younger at 28 different locations. These include schools, parks, aquatic centers, and more.
Definitely can see the impact in some of the kids that come, and a lot of our site servers get to know them over the summer and see them every day.
This really helps.
Jeff and Ashley Crutchfield own Mama's Take and Bake. The owners set aside money from each meal they sell to provide a child with free lunch.
We get a lot of kids that come down here on their own every day to get lunches. And some of them we've seen since last year. It's kind of cool seeing the kids growing up too, you know. And if the parents need a lunch, we'll give them one. We're not going to turn them away. We want to make sure nobody goes hungry. I'm certainly not. Thank you. You're welcome.
Like Spokane Public Schools, Mama's Take and Bake sees many familiar faces that turn into friends.
We hear stories. There's stories that'll make you laugh, and there's stories that'll just tear your heart right out of you.
You can help Mama's Take and Bake by donating any of the items on your screen or through GoFundMe and Venmo. Both free summer programs are available now through the end of summer. You can visit our website, KXLY.com, for more information on these services. Allison Martinez, 4 News Now.
One of the fastest growing tea makers in the country is based right here in the Inland Northwest. Revival Tea Company has grown over the years to offer more than just their usual tea. You can see our own Destiny Richards, they're enjoying their boba tea as well. And now they've opened a new location in Coeur d'Alene, located on the corner of Lakeside and Northwest Boulevard. The new shop is in walking distance to downtown and the beach. And in Coeur d'Alene, you'll find shelves full of Revival's herbal, green, and black teas, as well as that boba bar.
This is part of a bigger expansion we're doing as a company. We're actually planning on opening 50 locations up and down the West Coast, and so Coeur d'Alene was a natural fit for our next one.
Drew Henry, who you just heard from, says the company's eyeing cities like Boise, Denver, and Salt Lake City for Revival Tea Company. The shop in Coeur d'Alene will be open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. For more information on Revival Tea Company and their new location, look for this story on KXLY.com.
You couldn't pay me to do this. 4 astronauts won't see the sun for the next 12 months. It's part of an experiment to see what life could be like on Mars.
Yeah, they're dedicated. ABC's Andrew Dimbert takes us inside their new home for the next 365 days.
I think I'm critical because I'm one of the hottest people here.
Period. It sounds like the ultimate reality show.
Marshawn Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. I'm seeing it for free on Mars.
4 people locked in a simulated mission to Mars. With limited food options and minimal contact with loved ones, they'll have to survive together in tight quarters for 1 year. But it's not Survivor Mars edition.
You're not trying to vote anyone off the island.
No, and we certainly hope the crew doesn't either.
These 4 volunteers, selected from more than 4,000 applicants, entered a 3D printed Mars habitat at Johnson Space Center in Houston last night for the first of 365 days they'll spend inside together. The habitat, simulating what life would be like on the red planet, has bedrooms, a kitchen, living area, work areas, and 2 bathrooms, 1,700 square feet in all. Doesn't sound so bad until you hear the rules.
Restricted food, restricted water, restricted personal items.
Even communicating with family is restricted. Despite being in Texas, NASA will simulate the time it takes for messages to travel from Mars to loved ones back on Earth.
They'll have to determine what they elevate back to mission control and wait 44 minutes for the response.
And if they want to go outside, they'll be doing so in this, a replica of the Martian surface, complete with Mars murals and red sand, where the crew will conduct simulated spacewalks using virtual reality. So, what's it all for?
This research is really designed to inform the different resource trades that we'll have to make when we go to Mars someday.
At least there's no chance of ending up like Matt Damon.
So, yeah, I blew myself up.
This is the first of 3 missions designed to simulate living on Mars, each lasting 1 year. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Just days after being drafted into the NBA, a couple former standouts were introduced for the first time as pros. Coming up in sports, Alex Crescenti tells us how they're feeling on day 1.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Mistaqua Hotel and Casino in Chewelah.
Why not have the bath of your dreams? With Bath Planet, you can once again relax and enjoy the beauty of your new shower and bath. Our custom-built baths and showers will forever change the way your bathroom looks.
Call today for a free in-home consultation.
Where should I walk? Right here? Is this good?
Yeah, you can walk right there. This is your show. Do whatever you want.
You walk in.
It's live with Kelly and Mark.
Wow, that was a nice reception.
New research suggests that French fries may be linked to depression.
No.
I experience euphoria upon eating fries.
Euphoria.
Elation.
All the E's.
Every weekday morning.
That's right. That's right.
It all goes down on daytime's #1 talk show.
Yeah, of course that. All that.
We're sitting on a couch with the new co-host husband and wife team.
Watch live with Kelly and Mark, weekdays at 9 a.m., only on 4 News Now. How far would you go?
I want to prank my best friend Lewis.
My husband.
My roommate.
For the ultimate payback.
That's a yes.
Revenge.
X gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you. He gon' give it to you.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Johnny Knoxville, Eric Andre, and Gabourey Sidibe are The Prank Battle. Premieres July 9th on ABC.
Why not have the bath of your dreams? With Bath Planet, you can once again relax and enjoy the beauty of your new shower and bath. Our custom-built baths and showers will forever change the way your bathroom looks.
Call today for a free in-home consultation.
Surf's up on ET's Bahamas Week.
Our week of fun in the Caribbean sun. Filled with star surprises.
The exclusive float on.
Next, ET.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Entertainment Tonight at 7:30.
Not attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. If you or a loved one were stationed at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987 and were later diagnosed with cancer, Parkinson's disease, or other serious health effects, call right now.
Call 1-800-435-6817.
One of the ways that we assess the heat of a summer is we add up the number of 90-degree or higher days. And we were out of the gates quickly this spring. We did have a 90-degree day in May. We average one 90-degree day in May every year. We hit 90 on the 20th of May. And then we had a break. We didn't hit the 90s again until June 7th. We've only had one 90-degree or higher day. In June, we hit 91 degrees back on the 7th. We averaged 21 90-degree or higher days in Spokane. So far, we've had 2. We're going to add some more in the 7-day forecast. Here's a look at our temperature trend over the next 7 days. We are going to stay in the 80s, it looks like, through Thursday, and then just barely in the 90s, low 90s every day through the rest of the 7-day forecast. This white line is our average high, which is down in the 70s through the 7-day outlook. Our records this time of year, however, are all in the upper 90s and even the triple digits. And of course, our all-time record high, our anniversary of that, nothing to celebrate, 109. Here's a look at our temperature trend. We're heading out 8 to 14 days, and this starts on July 4th and continues through the 10th. Not an especially strong signal. We're just in this second orange color, but a hint toward above average temperatures. You don't have to go far to find some below average temperatures. Meanwhile, not a coincidence that the center, let's go back and show you, the center of that cooler than average conditions is also the center of above average precipitation. And we are just right in the lightest green area of low pressure that just seems to be meandering throughout the west. Will continue to bring us a chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms through that time period. That's what we're dealing with in our forecast radar as we go through Tuesday morning. We have some rain moving into the central panhandle, down through the Palouse and the LC Valley. Then in the afternoon and evening, we get that convection going with showers and thunderstorms, not dry thunderstorms, but some heavy rain with those. Here's Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, once again, those showers and thunderstorms start popping up to a lesser extent, and then we dry out for Thursday. High temperatures tomorrow will be running above average, about 5 degrees or a little bit more. Omak, Grand Coulee in the 90s. We're going to stay in the 80s in Lewiston and even the 70s in Pullman, St. Mary's, and Kellogg, because you are going to see more clouds and showers. Your planning forecast, we're in the 80s for the next 3 days, dry and sunny through the weekend and into early next week. Kirsten?
Thank you, Chris. Well, for most kids, starting middle school is exciting, but for one local girl, this new chapter signifies so much more.
Emma McSpadden has been bravely fighting cancer since last fall. Sydney Charles brings us Emma's story in this month's Miracle Monday.
From surgery to chemotherapy, Emma has had to overcome so much these past few months, but her family says their journey wouldn't have been the same without the care they received at Sacred Heart Children's Hospital.
I'm excited for the summer and to go back to school with my friends.
Emma was in the middle of her last year of elementary school when one moment changed everything.
She was out playing with her cousins and running around. They were playing tag, and she's kind of slipped and rolled her ankle. Doctor had some x-rays done, and that's when they discovered there was actually a tumor above her ankle.
Emma was diagnosed with a rare foot cancer. She started chemotherapy at Sacred Heart Children's Hospital right away.
When I first started chemo, I didn't want to lose my hair, and it would make me feel really sick. But as I got through it, it got better.
She also lost her foot as part of the treatment process, but not her humor and big personality.
Having my prosthetic, it's really good. It's wonderful. I did name it though. Its name is Patricia.
I think she's just such a joy, and she brings joy to all of the clinic and everybody in the hospital.
Dr. Carrie Laborde is one of the people at Sacred Heart who helped come up with a plan to keep Emma safe and healthy.
She's a really fun person, like just in general.
Emma has been able to accomplish so much with the help of the Child Life Specialist team, like being a part of the Red Tennis Shoe program, which is designed to get kids up and moving.
I ended up completing a half marathon.
Sacred Heart has tried to make the most difficult things, like spending a birthday in the hospital, feel special.
My nickname is Bald Eagle, and so they all dressed up as bald eagles, and I got some presents from some of them.
After all the changes she's went through, Emma's perseverance still hasn't left.
She has a long way to go, and to be able to just hit a speed bump, recover, move on forward, it just has been an amazing experience for me.
Emma is planning to reunite with all her friends as a part-time student at Chase Middle School in the fall.
Through chemo, surgeries, amputation, radiation, she just goes with it, and it's really amazing.
Emma just finished her chemotherapy at the end of April. If you'd like to support the Children's Miracle Network, you can find the donation page under this story on KXLY.com. 100% of your donation stays right here in our own community. Reporting in studio, Sydney Charles, 4 News Now.
Here's a look at ABC's primetime lineup tonight.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
At your locally owned Ace, we've got exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, even if you don't know exactly what it's called.
A thingamajig. A whatchamacallit.
A doohickey.
Thingamabob.
A doodad.
Ace has a huge selection of nuts, bolts, plumbing, and electrical supplies in stock. And at Ace, our experts ask just the right questions to make sure you leave with exactly what you need. Whether it's a whatchamacallit or a thingamajig, come see us today.
People who come to the Inland Northwest rave about its beauty.
For those of us who live and work here, we couldn't agree more. From its iconic history
to a ton of new beginnings. We have farm-to-table roots and access to nature right out our back door.
And as a community member, BECU wants to honor those who work together to make life better for our region.
Join us for the premier food and drink celebration, Crave, at the Spokane Valley Center Place, July 13th through the 15th. Proudly sponsored by BECU.
They were at home near Sandpoint when George's wife Sue found him unresponsive and started CPR. Within minutes, he was airlifted to Kootenai Health because George was having a STEMI, the most serious type of heart attack. Fortunately, Kootenai Health is a level 1 STEMI center with state-of-the-art cardiac care. So, just 90 minutes after his heart attack, George woke up with a healed heart and a very happy wife.
What if you had to choose between fixing the roof over your head and putting food on the table? What if that leak led to mold growing in your home? What if that meant you could not focus on finding a new job, or your children could no longer focus on learning? What if you no longer had a safe place to call home? Help Rebuilding Together make emergency repairs for our neighbors who have lost jobs and have to make those difficult choices. Text REBUILD to 484848.
Four News Now is brought to you by the Festival at Sandpoint.
Well, it's been quite the week for many former college hoopers in our region. They went from NBA hopefuls to getting to live out their childhood dream. But now the real work is set to begin, making the final roster. And one player we know who's going to make that cut is former Gonzaga star Julian Strother. He was officially introduced today as a member of the Denver Nuggets. While the defending champs got their first title off the back of some big men, they need some shooters still, and that's where Strother should really help them. And while he's going to be one of the young guys trying to earn more playing time, he wants to model his game after another player out of this region that took a similar path.
You know, seeing tall shooters, guys like Clay, have success in the league, you know, especially, you know, early on in his career, well, what got him on the court was defending. So just being able to focus in on my ability on the defensive end and keep growing that. So, I mean, there's plenty of guys, but tall shooters are all around the league are having great success right now.
And former Washington State Cougar Mohamed Gay was also introduced today as a member of the Atlanta Hawks. Gay was the 39th pick in the draft by the Charlotte Hornets before being traded to Atlanta. And while the big man scored more than 14 points and 8 rebounds per game last season in Pullman, he knows he still has to improve his game to make it in the league. And that starts with finding ways to score that is outside the paint.
I think definitely shooting still. Kind of my main focus on offense, because in this level you got to be able to shoot, to space the floor. But I think just working on my game overall, I think I got a lot to grow, and I think I will grow in a lot of aspects too.
And in case you missed it last week, Eastern Washington introduced the school's newest athletic director as Tim Collins. And while the university has seen success in recent years, it isn't without its challenges. One of those being the facilities on campus. Roos Field hasn't seen major renovations in more than a decade, and there are plenty of other Big Sky schools going out and building indoor practice facilities and expanding their stadiums, all part of college sports, non-stopping arms race. But Collins, who has spent his background in fundraising, says it ultimately comes down to two things. You have to serve your student athletes and the community.
And I think that's what we're going to have the opportunity to evaluate in the first 100 days is both of those pieces. You know, how are we helping, you know, our young people, and that we're really focused on their holistic development. But then two, what opportunities are we giving our community to come together and to celebrate here, for as an example, right? I mean, I'm looking forward to in September being here with 12,000 of our closest friends to be here to root on the Eagles.
And the Seattle Mariners are starting a series against the Washington Nationals this evening and a little interleague play. And right now it's tied up 1 apiece, a pair of home runs for each team in the first inning. We'll have the highlights and post-game reaction coming up on Nightside. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
When they ask you where you get your edge, where you get your drive, where you get your style, be sure to let them know.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Z.
The Lexus RX, the next generation of luxury, design, and technology. Never lose your edge.
Wildfire season is here and we may be affected by smoke. Protect your health by being prepared. 1. Check current air quality and fire activity online and plan accordingly. 2. When it's smoky, limit or avoid time outdoors. And 3. Keep indoor air as clean as possible. Replace home air filters more often and set the air conditioner to the recirculate mode. For the latest information about wildfires and air quality, visit the Washington Smoke blog, wasmoke.blogspot.com.
You see the look on his face? Hilarious.
I know how you feel. Because I was right here.
My biggest fear was on that.
Always waiting for me.
But I knew I was never alone.
And I would get through it. Because people care.
So walk right in.
Get back on.
Step right up. And to everyone who sees anyone bullying, don't just watch. Act.
Together, we can put an end to bullying.
You can learn more at disney.com/choose-kindness.
4 News Now is brought to you by All Lines Insurance at alllinesinsure.com.
Coming up tonight on Nightside, why researchers say the amount of teenagers treated for mental health issues has gone up. Plus, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students now faces the death penalty, how the prosecutors justify their decision, and why the defense wants to put the entire case on pause.
Here's a look at your 7-day forecast again. It's pretty easy to remember once you get past Thursday. 90s and sunshine. If this were slot machine, I think that would be worth something. But we do have a chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms tomorrow and Wednesday, mainly late afternoon and evening. And temperatures above average even before we get into the 90s. Our average high is in the 70s through the 7-day forecast.
I'm gonna have to prepare mentally, physically. I'm not ready for that stretch.
No, I hate to keep saying this, it could be worse. Like I say, the records this time of year, triple digits, and sometimes deep into the triple digits, so.
That's staying positive for you.
We had a treat last week. I'll just be grateful for that.
Yeah, come on.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app. See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.